Welcome Scorpio to your in-depth monthly horoscope for October 2023 for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some standout details to look out for, but please stay with me. I will explore in much greater depth the ins and outs particularly relevant to your sign. Now from the 3rd through to the 12th, your two ruling planets of Mars, traditional, and Pluto, modern, higher octave, are not on good terms. So I need to really unpack that for you because it could be quite tense. But on the 9th, Venus, the planet of relating, but also of loot, moves into a very friendly part of your situation. She has, of course, been in an extended occupation through the sign of Leo, and that's meant in terms of your goals and ambitions, the last few months have really been very busy for you, but I think Venus is introducing the potential for a bit more of a social dimension, if not immediately. Now on the 12th, Mars joins up with your sign, joined by Mercury on the 22nd and the Sun on the 23rd. Mercury and Mars come together in a glorious alliance on the 29th, so very, very exciting end to this month. Please stay with me for more. I'd just like to share a very exciting opportunity with you. If you order your year 2024 personal horoscope forecast now based on your personal birth data, I'll prepare for you the rest of year 2023 free of charge. Plus, in my special 30% off package, you can get your character analysis report, your life roadmap. This will give you searing insights into the patterns that have played out in your life so far, but give you a much more intimate understanding of how to make the most of these. Please see beneath this video for more. And finally, if you've yet to watch your year 2024 zodiac forecast, please see the link below where you can do so for free. So Scorpio, as you come into October, the Sun and your traditional ruler Mars still locked away in house 12. That's very much to do with reflection, pausing, taking stock, perhaps getting more in touch with the psychological dimension of our experiences and our existences. Also understanding our motivations a little bit more. So you may feel slightly muted at the start of this month, but despite this, Venus does forge a terrific link to Mars. There could be some discussions going on behind the scenes, particularly around a business matter, which look encouraging. But also Black Moon Lilith moves into your sector of friendship on the 3rd, where she's going to be for the next 9 months. If you're single, I feel that your social situation is going to be very important in terms of potentially meeting someone who can make your pulse race in the months to come. But on the 5th, Mercury does move into the 12th house of your situation. In the 11th, where it had been since the 28th of July, I feel that there's been perhaps lots of stop-starts around some of your future hopes, perhaps even around some people that you link out to. Maybe someone has disappointed you a little bit. Mercury moving into the sign of Libra gives you more food for thought, and you may just want to actually withdraw a little bit. But with Mars, as I mentioned before, in a clash between the 3rd and the 12th with Pluto, it's possible that something that you feel incredibly strongly about, that perhaps you've been keeping to yourself, maybe it's to do with an injustice or an unfairness, that can burn away inside of you, but you may find it very hard not to express how you really feel across that series of days. It's important when Mars and Pluto are in a square to understand about the issues of revenge and also of getting people back. You know, if you feel that someone has been really, really unfair, maybe karma will provide the answer. We can all get caught up on holding grudges and being very resentful. With Mars in a square with Pluto, you may be tempted to do something using the dark arts in order to make things right as far as you see it. Just go careful, is all I'd say, but also be aware that someone could be active in a gossipy type of way, and you need to make sure that your reputation is really protected the best you can. So I wouldn't open up and share confidential matters with someone you don't know very well or don't really trust. I think that could be a mistake. But on the 9th, Venus emerges from Leo but goes into the friendliest part of your situation. But as I mentioned, Mercury is probably giving you a lot of insights to your social circle, and if there have been some friends or even someone romantically that you've been linking with but you don't see a future for it, you're going to make a quick decision at this part of the month, because Venus goes directly opposite Saturn, and that can, like a sledgehammer, bring an end to something that isn't working as you want. It can make you feel very cool and very detached, and at this part of the month I do feel that you're going to be feeling very sensitive, and some of your feelings are going to be more difficult to articulate. Mercury in the 12th house is, undoubtedly quite tricky. That side of your nature that can be very private is certainly emphasized at the start of this month. But that does start to change on the 11th. Why? Well, Pluto, your modern ruler, ends its retrograde, which began on the 1st of May. Initially, it was in your sector of emotion for 11 weeks. Then it moved back into your sector of ideas. But your relationship with neighbours, siblings, has probably been highly charged, or perhaps it's your community ever since then. But then another bonus, on the 12th, Mars makes its way into your sign. Mars moving through the 12th house as it has done in the previous 6.5 weeks is really, really quite challenging. And of course you have this square at the start of the month with Pluto, but also Mars is in an opposition with the North Node on the 5th. So all of this is helping you to understand a lot more about any outstanding legacy issues to do with unfairness, dishonesty, betrayal, because the 12th house where Mars is emerging from is about secret enemies, and sometimes we find out who we can't rely upon just at the moment when we need that person to be the most reliable and back us up, and that can make us feel profoundly vulnerable and hurt. So when Mars moves into your sign, you're going to move into the moment, and whereas things may have felt a little bit heavy and very psychologically charged, your physical vitality is instantly going to pick up. You're going to feel much more in the moment. Your sense of self-belief will increase, and you can achieve an enormous amount over the next 6 weeks with Mars's thrusting vital energies. But on the 14th, we have the solar eclipse in the sign of Libra, which for you, house 12, so once more that psychological dimension, but it's in a quincunx, which is 150 degrees, with the restless energies of Uranus, which over the last few years, the last 4 years or so, full-time, 4.5 years, has really made your relationship sector a little bit changeable, quite exciting at times, but not necessarily particularly settled. It could have given you the desire to have more space in an existing relationship, which has strengthened the tie, or so much space you want to escape it. Or it may be that you've had several people have come into your world and out of your world very quickly, because Uranus is a very fast influence, it's a very electric influence. So when it comes to your 12th house and the 7th house of relating where Uranus is, you can see that there could still be some surprises that evolve over the next, not just 6 months, but the next 1.5 years, right through to the start of the spring 2025. And because the 12th house can be endings, if there is a relationship which isn't working, the 12th house can be about a culmination point in your life. So reflection, withdrawal, separation. Uranus 7th house can be about keeping a distance. It can be needing space. It can be needing to be attracted to something that's exciting. You could find over this next year and a half that a covert relationship develops for you. It's possible that you may want to end an existing involvement, or someone can help you to understand the psychology of your relationship attitudes in a much more profound way. Now, that could be watching YouTube videos, it could be doing a course, it could be having some counselling, but you have an opportunity to dive deep. Now, you have a penchant for diving deep at the best of times, but don't be surprised that you're going to be diving even deeper during this next 18 months. But the 19th to the 21st features on the 20th a sparkling event. It is the Mercury cazimi, but it's Mercury the other side of the sun, because it's not in retrograde, so it's a superior cazimi, and this is amplifying this psychological potential, but also because Mercury is about absorbing ideas quickly, fast, discriminating quickly from its rulership of Virgo about what's helpful. But it could also be that suddenly you have a spark of insight into something that's been dogging you for some while, and it may actually be quite unsettling, even if illuminating. But also on the 19th to the 21st, Mercury's clashing with Pluto. So some more gossip or information can come into the open. Maybe something you don't want to happen, or it may be someone says something about you locally which is unfair or unkind. Just watch out for gossip. We live in a world which is dominated by digital comments. That's all essentially, or not all, but a lot of it is opinion, not factual. So in a way, it's just a modern form of gossip. And it can be very, very wounding and undermining. I would keep a bit of a detachment at this part of the month from technology that drains you. You know, if there are friends that you perceive are having an easier time of it than you, don't be checking out their profiles. It won't feed your sense of self. Fortunately, on the 22nd, Mercury moves into your sign, and this helps you to come into the moment. But the Sun replaces Mercury in a clash with Pluto. So once more, there could be some things that you've been burning away at, resentful, and you just have to get them off your chest. Or it may be that you internalize some injustices and you'll start to feel very exhausted through the middle of this month and drained. So important to try to channel any anxieties or concerns that you have, perhaps with someone that you can absolutely totally rely upon. But then the Sun moves into your sign, and instead of squaring up with Pluto, it forges a brilliant trine with Saturn. So despite the fact that there may be these challenges in this middle part of the month, and even in the first, from the 3rd through to the 12th, with that square between your two rulers, as the Sun comes into your sign, your physical vitality will increase hugely. If there are people that you're collaborating with that you feel safe around, it can be in a very solid way. But then Mercury combines with Mars on the 29th in an exact conjunction. But also Jupiter's in the mix as well, arcing back across the heavens from Taurus, where I feel Jupiter is good. Taurus slows Jupiter down. Jupiter can be a bit boastful. You know, it tends to think that everything will just, you know, fall into place without too much effort. It's in your 8th house, which is very redolent of your own energies, quite intense. But Jupiter can also be a very spiritual influence. The 8th house can be about transformations in terms of our deeper understanding. It can be about ends, of course, but it can be about beginnings, the cycle of life. So we have Mars and Mercury combining in an opposition with Jupiter, very powerful, very potent, but then we have the full moon in your opposite sign, which is a lunar eclipse. And this is the last in the series of eclipses between your sign and Taurus. And because Mercury and Jupiter and your ruler Mars are in the mix, it's a very exciting lunar eclipse, I feel. And over the next 6 months, As you go into 2024, I feel the combination of the 12th house energy, asking you to stay very much in tune with the things that are ending in your life, but also especially the psychology around your relationships. That's really what these two eclipses working in conjunction or collectively, collaboratively, are going to bring into the last weeks of 2023 and into that first quarter of 24. But I think you can see that you're going to be roaring back into form as this month goes on, wanting to take much more control of your life direction. If you need to make some bold, unpopular and difficult decisions that release you to live out your life in your own power, sometimes we have to do that. So I feel that there could be a massive transformation this month, and maybe it's going to be painful at times. Maybe a lot of home truths will be shared, a lot of simmering resentments and angers finally got off your chest. But as you come into the end of the month, there is an opportunity to completely recast your future direction and future moves in a much more dynamic and exciting way. But it does point towards some kind of complete new beginning. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Scorpio. Please check out your year 2024 Scorpio Astrology and Horoscope Deep Dive Forecast by seeing the link beneath this video. And also, thank you for joining me. Stay safe. Please like, comment, share, or subscribe.